If you're like me, you don't like salesmen. You don't like being sold. You don't want anybody to tell you what to want. And yet, some ideas are so new that they have to be explained for you to understand why they're important and how they can affect you. Take the home. Houses have been around for 1,000 years. Houses are everywhere, and we've all lived in one. And there are some problems that come with houses that have been around so long that we just assume that's the way it has to be. And yet, it doesn't have to be. In this video, we're going to show you some of these problems, why they're important, and offer you some simple solutions. You don't have to worry about them ever again.
In a mold inspection, I provide my clients with confirmation that they either do or don't have mold based on a number of factors. Could be organic growth, could be high humidity levels, could be any number of things. Deteriorating products or materials in their home. When I go into a home, I immediately take photographs. Anywhere I see a problem, I will begin to evaluate humidity levels in a home, look for signs of water intrusion, look for signs of possible organic growth. How mold attacks building materials, namely wood framing, is it's doing its job. It's breaking down organic matter. And the only real way for mold to begin to take hold on building materials is it's got to have water. The wood products and other cellulose products, drywall, that's all the food. And just like any other living thing, mold needs water to live. It's producing enzymes and mycotoxins that break down building materials, wood framing and whatnot, which in turn is going to make it weaker over time.
Mold and mildew are very, very small particles, and most of it goes on the air, and we're not aware that we're breathing in these things. What happens is inside of the alveolus in the lungs, there's a reaction, an inflammatory reaction, and basically the lung cannot contain a lot of air, and the people get sick. You can get a complication with this, which will be pulmonary infection, and basically it can be deadly.
My experience finding materials that have mold and mildew on them, most common is a wood product or paper-based products, cellulose. That seems to be what mold favors to grow on the quickest and easiest, because it's like any other living organism. It's going to take advantage of the best opportunity it can.
There are some studies that has been done in the UK where they associated the mold and mildew with depression also. They did a study like in 6,000 houses in the United Kingdom, and they correlated that the people that was experiencing this deep depression were having also mold and mildew in their houses. So they are saying it has something to be also with depressions. There are some people that are very sensitive to this, especially the kids, and it can go through like from asthma diagnosed, and sometimes they don't know what's going on, it ends up being the mold. And sometimes it can go like into an anaphylactic reaction, like basically the people get so allergic to it that it can go in shock and die.
Products in homes that I am least likely to find mold growing on would definitely be metal, provided there's no organic substances on the metal to begin with. I find that clean metal does not often have mold on it. I could see a possibility of not having a job just based on essentially removing a food source for mold. As difficult as that would be, the way the vast majority of homes are built, it's a buffet for mold.
As long as human has been having houses, we have all these animals and insects that love to eat our food. So there's many things, especially for example with the rats. There's many things. It can go from like a rat bite, which can give you fever, a bad disease like hantavirus, which causes like a pulmonary syndrome, and this pulmonary syndrome has symptoms that are so like general, and sometimes people goes underdiagnosed and they can die because of this. There's also the salmonella. This is a bacteria that causes like digestive problems, and sometimes people it's not aware, but it's because what is around the house, not exactly the food that they're having, but maybe the mice and the rats are around the house, and you know you put your food there and it got contaminated with this. Cockroaches and other insects, they are very well known that they bring a lot of virus, bacteria, and a lot of infections within their bodies. It's not actually the animal per se, or sometimes it's in the saliva, like in the mouse, and they come and eat your food, you didn't notice, and then you get it inside of you.
Many times, unexpectedly, when I'm doing an inspection, I'll find evidence of rodents or insects in crawl spaces or attics. Many times, this is due to either how the home was built or how it's being maintained. Parts of homes people don't go in. I have the pleasure of going in the deep, dark places of homes, and you'd be surprised what I find. People who never expected that they may have a pest problem, I can say, hey, maybe you should call a pest guy out.
I think you have to see, since the moment you're building the house, how much interaction you're gonna have with this. You can have your house super clean and you can have like everything in order, but the neighborhood, someone has cockroaches, or maybe there's a restaurant or something, and they go through the drainage.
Many times I believe that rodents and pests, insects and whatnot can find their way into homes due to failing building materials from the outside. If a home wasn't properly built or maintained, it makes it real easy for an animal to come find a nice warm place to live inside your attic or crawl space.
A lot of animals like mice and rats, they like warm and sometimes humid places, so maybe they can eat the wood and build their nest in these houses or close to the house. You can be exposed because the habits of your neighbors or the neighborhood. Sometimes we live in places that are really old. You know, there's houses here that are 100, 150 years old, and you know, the way they did it many years ago, it was very different of the way that we build on these days.
Most homes are subject to mold and mildew or pests or fire hazard. Roy, what's the solution?
Robert, I'm glad you asked that question, because these are serious problems that people have, and they don't realize that what is actually behind that paint, the beautiful paper, you know, that you have on your wall. You don't really know what's back there. And unfortunately, since most of the homes have mold, have pests, and are a fire hazard, the wood structure is not the right way for the future. You see, homes built in the future will have to be built out of a different material. Now, with future technology homes, we have that solution. We build with steel. Mold can't grow on steel. We have proprietary panels that fit together with each other and around the steel, because the steel's all inside. And then we wrap that with what we call blue skin, completely sealing the house from any pest getting in, any moisture getting in. So if you want a home without mold, without mildew, without, you know, little critters, you know, bugs, mice, rats, then you need a future technologies home.
One phrase that one of the firefighters we spoke to said that I really liked. He said the new materials that they're building houses from are fine so long as they're not on fire.
Right. Well, and what he was referring to, since about 1970, 1980, homes are built differently. They're built with green wood and a lot of tacks that kind of hold the structure together. And then once a fire starts, those tacks that they have in there then start breaking loose. And so if a fireman gets up on a typical roof of a house built since 1970, 1980, there's no structure there to hold him, and he's going to fall right through. We might get mold. We might have pests. We have to put up with insects and other vermin coming in our home. And, there's that chance of a fire. We just try to pretend that that's not going to happen to us. But it can, and it probably already is in your home. So wouldn't you prefer not to have a home made out of wood that has all those problems? Wouldn't you rather have a home that's going to be solid, that's going to last for a much longer period of time? It's going to be worth more when you try to sell it. Isn't that more important? Isn't your family more important than just living in what you've been used to all this time?
But isn't all of that terribly expensive?
That's been the problem. The problem with building with steel, because you don't see mini malls, you don't see office buildings, you don't see apartments anymore built with wood. Why is that? Because they don't hold up. And if I'm building an apartment building, I want it to last for a long, long time. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's really not. We have gotten it down so that it's not really but about 10% more than what you'd pay to get another house built, out of wood. Because in the factory, every piece of steel is already pre-cut. And when it comes out to the job site, all they have to do is assemble it. When our materials come out, they can be put together in about days. You can have the whole structure built in days. It's all steel. The panels all numbered and lettered, and they just fit in. Like I said, they interlock and they just go around. Then the blue skin gets put on, and it completely seals the house. And we can do that so much faster with our process that you're not paying that labor cost.
So if I'm hearing you right, the homeowner will be able to offset the 10% extra cost of building the home?
It's even better than that, because in the onset, you may pay 10% more for the house, but the maintenance on that house is so much less money. It holds up so much better. Our homes can handle mile-an-hour winds, so you don't have to worry about your roof blowing off. You don't have to worry about fire in the area. You don't have to worry about the pests. You don't have to worry about having to put up with mold. All those things are going to be a savings. Plus, when you go to sell it, it's going to be worth at least 20% more.
So how did all of this come about?
Future Technology Homes is the culmination of two companies that started in Texas. Now, one of those is Silverton Custom Homes. They've been building homes for 24 years in the state of Texas. They are the #1 home builder in the state of Texas and in the top 100 of home builders in the United States. They are always looking. If you're going to be in the top 100 of builders, you have to be looking ahead at the future. And they were looking at, where is the future going to go? We know it's going to be more energy efficient. We know it's going to have to be maybe a different structure even. They hadn't really thought that far ahead, but they started looking at this company, Solid Green Solutions, and they'd been doing research for 5 years. And they had built many homes. There was a wildfire in Texas about 4 years ago, and Solid Green Solutions built all brand new homes for those people. We have a testimonial from the county. They were so happy that now they have homes that are fireproof. Mike Grimm, who saw this, who is the owner of Silverton Custom Homes, he was looking at this company, and they were basically a research company. They were not in the business of building homes. They were building them to see if they could improve their process and keep improving their process. Well, the problem with research is it doesn't pay very well. And he saw that they were starting to struggle. And he thought, well, this is a good opportunity. And we could use that technology that they've been building, they had patented, and I could incorporate it in with my designs and with my builds. So now we have beautiful homes that are super energy efficient. Have you ever heard of the HERS ratings?
No, what is that?
HERS rating is the home energy rating. What is the energy output of your home? Basically, how energy efficient really is it? So all these energy efficient homes that they're claiming are energy efficient, they're still have a HERS rating in about 64 to 70. And a lot of your homes that have been built are up in the hundreds. Well, with solid green technology, future technology homes builds homes that are about 11 to 15. This means they are super energy efficient. When you're at a HERS rating of 0, that's what they call zero footprint. That means that you're actually making more energy than you're expending. So with a set of solar panels, we can actually get that down so you're basically at a 0 footprint.
Why is this not just another steel building?
A lot of times they're using organic materials for the insulation. The new Honda high efficiency home that they built, they used like newspaper, shredded up newspaper. What is the best thing in the world for mice? What do pests love to have to play in and to eat and to make their nests out of? Is like the materials they're using for their insulation is a playground for mold, mildew, pests, and they're going to burn. You want your home to be your home. You want to keep all the critters and all those mold and all that. You want to keep that outside, right? You don't want that in your home. So we build out of a product that is not organic, so it doesn't bring those things in the house. With the blue skin on the outside, it has a sealant on it, and so it completely seals around the windows, around the doors, all the way up. And literally, you could have a river come up against your house, and the water would not penetrate. But the beautiful thing about blue skin is it allows moisture and toxins and anything else that's inside the house. It allows it to flow out, but nothing can flow in. And if you do nail, like if you're putting up siding and you put nails in it, it actually seals around the nail or the screw or whatever, staple. It will seal around it as whenever you put it in, because it has, like when your tire goes flat and you used to have this fix-a-flat stuff, and you could just put that in there and it would seal it. Well, that's essentially what the blue skin has in it. So anytime there's a puncture, it just seals automatically around it. And so you have a completely solid product that is going to last for years and years and years and years with almost no maintenance required.
How does future technology homes fit in with all of this?
Future Technology Homes is the culmination of these two companies, as we talked about. Now, one of the things that Mike decided to do, that owns Silverton Custom Homes, and Marcus, that owns is the CEO of Solid Green Companies, is they wanted to be able to share that technology with the world. And so they are now selling distributorships all over the country. My partners and I bought the distributorship for the state of Washington. So we're allowed to have all those features, all that design, all those the great builders, all that research we are now allowed to use here in the Northwest to help people have a future technology home that doesn't have all these problems that the wooden homes have. So if you want a home that's going to last, you want to talk to somebody about a future technology home.
Does that mean that all of the homes at this point are custom built?
With future technology homes, we have all the architects, we have the designers, we have the builders that are in Texas that are coming here and will design and build you the most beautiful, energy efficient home that you could ever imagine. And it's going to look just like your neighbor's home, maybe better, but it's going to last so much longer.
Toward the end of the 19th century, someone came up with the crazy idea to build a carriage without a horse. Today, nobody even thinks about having a horse. In the future, no one will even think about buying a home that has all the problems that we've discussed here today. In the future, no one will consider a home that isn't virtually indestructible. In the future, no one will consider having a house that their great-great-grandchildren couldn't live in when their time came around. A Solid Green Company's home is the home of the future. For Future Technologies, I'm R.D. Fredrickson. Thank you for watching.